Part 14. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 131. With the first plan being overturned, everyone's hope at the moment is also pinned on the second plan mentioned by Yang Lin just now. And Yang Lin didn't keep them waiting for long. After pondering for a moment, he replied. Since we can't kill the dragon vein, we can only start from the elevated road near the sea. Start high. Right. As he spoke, Yang Lin pointed to the previous elevated design drawing again and said. The overall shape of this elevated highway is like a big snake, so it conflicts with the dragon vein. Since we can't cut off the dragon vein, then we will cut off this big snake and stop it from thinking about becoming a dragon. The dispute between dragon and snake can naturally be broken. Huh? Kill this snake. Suddenly hearing Yang Lin's second solution, Hao Saiwen didn't react for a while. Teacher Yang, by killing the snake, you are talking about blowing up the elevated highway, right? This is not possible. This elevated highway is our current transportation hub in Jinghai. As soon as Hao Saiwen finished saying this, Yang Lin smiled bitterly. That's not what Pandeo meant. How could he be blowing up the elevated highway? The so-called snake killing doesn't really mean killing it. We just need a snake cutting sword and hang it 7 inches away from it. In addition, build a wall where it is closest to the sea to prevent it from entering the sea. This is equivalent to killing it. In this way, Dragon Vein will naturally no longer be hostile to it. Is it that simple? After listening to Yang Lin's explanation, Hao Saiwen seemed not to have thought that the method was so simple. All you need to do is hang a sword in this place and build a wall in this place. Of course. Otherwise, do you still want Pandeo to hold a ceremony on the viaduct? If you need it, Pandeo can do it, but the price will be calculated separately. Seeing Yang Lin say these words seriously, others around him almost couldn't hold back their laughter. What does this man think? You get what you pay for, and he still expects Yang Lin to perform rituals for him. Yang Lin's rituals are not cheap. That's right, his last ritual was worth 50 million. When I get rich in the future, I also want to ask Yang Lin to perform a ritual for me, but I don't know if I can be reborn as a good child in my next life. It would be great if I could freely choose to be reincarnated. What the hell are you thinking? Yang Lin can still have this kind of relationship. We also have the saying of snake killing sword in our hometown. It is said that every time there is a flood, big snakes and evil dragons will enter the sea and transform into dragons. In order to prevent them from destroying the bridge, a sword will be hung under the bridge. At the head of our village that handle has been hanging for hundreds of years. Yang Lin is not allowed to sell them this snake-cutting sword for 5 million. Everyone was still discussing, and Hao Saiwen also smiled awkwardly. Then let's do it according to the method you said, Teacher Yang. Teacher Yang, can you help us get one of this snake-cutting sword? We will settle the price separately. No problem, Pandeo will get it for you later. You can just find a place to hang it up. After speaking, Yang Lin turned on his phone and dialed one of the numbers. Hey, Mr. Chu, I'm Yang Lin. You should have a sword over there. It can be from any dynasty, it doesn't need to be too good, the cheaper the better. Okay, I'll wait here. Listening to the content of Yang Lin's call, Hao Saiwen could only pretend that he didn't hear it. It wasn't his money spent anyway. He wished Yang Lin could quote a higher price, so that the leaders could feel at ease. And while waiting for the snake sword to be delivered, the focus of the problem once again returned to the previous pillar. Now the overall problem of the Linhai elevated highway has been solved, but the issue of this pillar is still hanging over here. As one of the overall load-bearing columns of the elevated structure, if it cannot be repaired, the elevated structure will not be open to traffic again. After thinking again and again, Hao Saiwen also asked tentatively. Teacher Yang, you said that this pillar hit the heart of the dragon's veins, So can we just move it a little to the side and there will be no problem? Yang Lin did not deny it at this time, but nodded. Theoretically, this is true, but the dragon's veins are so huge, and the area radiated by its heart is not just a little bit. It is not feasible to move the columns without affecting the entire elevated route. So Pandeo's suggestion is to build an identical column at the original location. The only difference is that the entire column needs to be wrapped with tin sheets. 9 dragons are carved on the iron sheet, and the 9 dragon pillars are used to stabilize the dragon veins. In this way, the main structure can be kept unchanged without damaging the dragon's heart. If you are worried about some bad noise from the outside world, you can wrap all the pillars of this entire line into the same 9 dragon pillars, which will also be a beautiful scenery. After hearing Yang Lin's solution, the eyes of Hao Saiwen and the engineers next to him suddenly lit up. If it is true as Yang Lin said, then their project volume will undoubtedly be greatly reduced. All they need to do is to coat the cylinder with a layer of tin plate. Teacher Yang, thank you very much. With your words, we are completely relieved. Sure enough, you have to find professional people for professional matters. Those bald heads are really not reliable at all. No one can compare with you. It can be solved in a few words. While flattering Yang Lin, Hao Saiwen also asked Yang Lin for the style of the 9 dragon pillars. After he gave Yang Lin a pen and paper, Yang Lin immediately drew 9 lifelike dragons on the white paper in front of everyone. There is no lack of beauty in the majesty. It is impossible to associate it with a suppressing magic weapon. Instead, it is more like a relief work of art. It is conceivable that when all the supporting columns under the Linhai elevated highway are replaced by 9 dragon pillars, it will inevitably become a highlight of Jinghai. And just when Yang Lin had just finished drawing the pattern of the 9 dragon pillars, a delivery boy sent Yang Lin a sword from the front. Looking at the gleaming sword in his hand, Yang Lingxuan used a cinnabar pen to draw mysterious runes on the sword body. At first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything too mysterious about these runes. But upon closer inspection, I discovered that there was a murderous intent hidden in the runes. With just one glance, a drop of cold sweat flowed down Hao Saiwen's forehead. Teacher Yang, you are really amazing. I happen to be born in the year of snake. As soon as I took one look at this sword, I felt a chill on my back and top of my head. I broke out in cold sweat. As soon as Hao Saiwen finished speaking, Yang Lin pulled him aside. Deputy Director Hao, you are overthinking. There is an elevated drainage hole above your head, didn't you notice? All the water seeping out has dripped onto the top of your head and into the back of your neck. Ah! Is that so? Just when Hao Saiwen was surprised, Yang Lin handed him the snake-killing sword in his hand. Chinjui, 5 million. How do you settle the other expenses? Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 132. Killing evil snakes with the snake-killing sword and calming the dragon veins with the 9 dragon pillar are just a matter of a few sentences for Yang Lin. But for the Traffic Management Bureau and even Jinghai as a whole, it is a huge kindness. Hao Saiwen, the Deputy Director of the Transportation Bureau, was even more grateful to Yang Lin at this moment. Therefore, he never thought about bargaining with Yang Lin. In the end, after asking his superiors for instructions, he also offered a sky-high consulting fee of 50 million yuan. In addition to the 5 million spent on the snake-killing sword, a total of 55 million was paid. In the end, this fee was paid by the entire Jinghai finance, and Yang Lin received the payment that afternoon. In addition to the 50 million yuan in endorsement fees that Longguo Petrochemical paid into his account in the morning, his income has exceeded 100 million yuan in just one morning. Faced with such a result, netizens no longer knew what to say, and they were not even too shocked. Because after several previous incidents, they were more or less numb. By the time Yang Lin left the elevated area, it was noon. It's dinner time again, let's go eat. With a wave of Yang Lin's hand, he, who had just made a lot of money, led the program team to a hotel located in the bustling area of Jinghai City. When everyone in the program team looked at the diners coming and going in the hotel, a look of anticipation suddenly appeared on their faces. I've seen this restaurant online before. It's very famous in Jinghai. Yes, yes, I've also seen it on Douyin, and I've also read Dragon Kingdom on the tip of my tongue here. Hey, today is another day to take advantage of Teacher Yang. Why don't we treat Teacher Yang to the meal today? It would be embarrassing if Teacher Yang spends money every day. Good idea, then I can't make Teacher Yang pay for it anymore today. After some discussion among the program team, they quickly reached a consensus. Yang Lin didn't say much about this. After all, the consumption here didn't seem to be very high. What he was concerned about at the moment was whether the food here was really as delicious as they said. Although his need for food has greatly weakened as his cultivation level has improved, the desire for food and appetite is human instinct. Tasting delicious food is also spiritual practice. After a few people entered the hotel, service staff immediately arranged a private room for them. Several members of the program team also handed the menu to Yang Lin's hands immediately. Looking at the various delicacies on the menu, Yang Lin moved his index finger and ordered several dishes in succession. Tongjiang stuffed tofu, 8 treasure winter melon cup, baked lobster in soup, sweet and sour pork, that's it? You can order the rest. After speaking, he handed the menu to the staff on the side. But just when they were about to add a few more dishes, there were sudden bursts of exclamations outside the door. Hearing this voice, several people in the private room couldn't help showing a trace of doubt on their faces. What's going on? Why are there so many cheers outside? That's it, did you win the lottery? You order first, I'll go out and take a look. I'll go too. With a trace of curiosity, the cameraman took the lead in opening the door to the private room, and at the same time several other people followed and stuck their heads out. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it. At first glance, several people's faces turned pale with fright. I'll blanch it. Isn't this a hotel? Why are there so many animals? Snakes, so many snakes, ah. What is that thing at the back, a pangolin? Crazy, where did these animals come from? Is there a zoo next door? Hearing the screams from several people, Yang Lin frowned slightly, and after counting his fingers, a hint of understanding appeared in his eyes. The next second I saw him getting up and walking out of the private room. At the same time, the entire hotel became a mess. Looking around, reptiles of different shapes and sizes were running around in every corner of the hotel. There are snakes, lizards, hedgehogs, and even 2 pangolins. The smooth and ferocious appearance is terrifying to look at. It's no wonder that the group of diners just now were frightened like that. Not to mention the diners, even the staff in the hotel don't know what to do at the moment. However, at this moment, a flute sound came from a private room inside the hotel. As the flute sounded, the little animals that were still in a state of rage immediately became quiet one by one. Before everyone in the hotel could figure out what was going on, a figure wearing a Taoist robe walked out of a private room. Wherever this figure went, all the small animals moved aside, as if they had seen a natural enemy. After seeing this scene, the people who were originally panic-stricken could not help but gain courage. After some inspection, they finally all set their eyes on the figure in Taoist robes. Not long after, several people showed shocked expressions. Holy shit, Yang Lin, you can meet big stars just for a meal. It's really you. We must be very lucky. These snakes seemed to be under his control, and he was just like what he saw on the live broadcast. Wait, what is he going to do? Not long after the diners recognized Yang Lin's identity one after another, Yang Lin walked to a corner of the hotel under their doubtful eyes. The next second, a smile appeared on Yang Lin's lips. It turns out that a little guy like you made such a big fuss as soon as he was born. If you don't want Pandeo to kill you with a sword, just be obedient. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin's right hand suddenly reached into the corner. Then, under the gaze of hundreds of eyes, he picked up the snow-white snake as thick as a chopstick with one hand. The members of the program team who had been following Yang Lin couldn't help showing surprise after seeing this scene. This little snake is so beautiful. Yeah, not to mention that it's all white, and its eyes are like rubies. What kind of breed is this? According to Teacher Yang, the riots caused by those little animals just now were all caused by it. How is that possible? It's so small. I could stab it to death with just one finger. Teacher Yang, what on earth is it? Facing everyone's doubts, Yang Lin first put the little snake into his sleeve, and then explained with a smile. It's not a little snake, it's a hui. The anaconda becomes a snake, the snake becomes a python, the anaconda becomes an anaconda, the anaconda becomes a dragon, and the dragon becomes a dragon. Although it has just been born, it can already control all the snakes in the world. If I am not mistaken, it is the degeneration of the big snake that was about to be killed just now. What a golden cicada that escaped from its shell, but it's a pity that it met me. From now on, it will be a spiritual beast that protects poor Taoists. Listening to Yang Lin's words, everyone felt a gust of wind and rain, and they didn't understand them at all. The only thing they knew was that they might not be able to finish the meal. After all, how can any serious hotel hide a protected animal like a hedgehog or pangolin? And what happened next was indeed not beyond their expectations. Soon a group of policemen came over and took over the entire restaurant. Everyone from the boss to the chef was rewarded with a pair of silver bracelets. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 133. Seeing the cook being taken away helplessly, several members of the program team couldn't help but reveal a wry smile. Teacher Yang, now we can only eat at another restaurant. Yes, this restaurant is really brave. It even has a hidden menu. That's right, what's so delicious about wild animals? Why do these people take such big risks? Probably it's dinner at Mr. Tu's house. Then where should we eat now? Just when the program crew looked confused, Yang Lin spoke up. This place is not far from the fish and dragon feast. How about we go there to deal with it? As soon as he said these words, several members of the program team almost choked to death on their own saliva. The private kitchen in Longguo was a mess, but when Yang Lin came here, he just dealt with it casually. If these people who have been queuing for a month to get in line know this, they will be so angry that they will vomit blood. But at this moment, they obviously have no other better choice. They eat and drink with Yang Lin every day, and their mouths have long been spoiled. They don't like ordinary small restaurants at all. So in the end, under the leadership of Yang Lin, they came to the fish and dragon feast that they had been to once before. Perhaps it was because it hadn't been long since the last time I came here to have a meal. As soon as Yang Lin walked in, a good-looking woman wearing a cheongsam and a good temperament greeted him politely at the front desk. Come up. Mr. Yang, you are here. Chef Peng has recently developed several new dishes, just waiting for you to taste them. Please come to me. As she spoke, the woman immediately led Yang Lin and others into the garden. And her polite behavior also attracted the attention of other diners present. After all, they didn't receive such treatment when they came. Who is this person? There is no need to check the reservation information, just bring it inside. Yes, I reserved the location a month in advance, and they confirmed it again and again after arriving today. This is the first time I've seen them being so polite to people. The one in the lead looks familiar. Could it be some store exploring blogger? You're crazy. Who dares to visit this store? Not to mention the high cost. If you dare to say anything bad, I'm afraid you will be sprayed to death. By the way, before they went in, wasn't there a group of people who also went in? The status of that group of people seemed to be unusual. Of course it's unusual. I don't know that old man, but the fat man next to them seems to be Li Dajiang, the deputy mayor of Jinghai City. The deputy mayor is accompanying me. Tisk, 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 who is the god of wealth? While the diners were talking a lot, Yang Lin and others were led to a garden in the garden. Next to it are clusters of flowers, not far away is a lotus pond, and there is the sound of women in ancient costumes playing silk and bamboo. There are even more than a dozen peacocks, some white and some green, roaming next to their garden. Obviously the location this time is better than the last time. It is for this reason that several members of the program team who originally chose to turn off the live broadcast also turned on the live broadcast again. In their words, they made the audience in the live broadcast room angry. In fact, when the audience saw the environment Yang Lin and others were in at this moment, they were indeed angry. Where did Yang Lin go again? This environment is too beautiful. Yes, I just came over from Xiaoyuiyu, and Xiaoyuiyu is eating at a roadside stall now. It's obviously the same variety show, but why are there a poor version and a rich version? Don't tell me they're eating. Hey, it seems that Yang Lin and the others came to this place once last time. It seems to be called the Fish and Dragon Feast. You really think of this top-notch private kitchen as a work meal? Just when the audience in the live broadcast room was filled with envy and hatred, Yang Lin and others also ordered their dishes. I didn't order too much this time, 7 people ordered 14 dishes in total. While waiting for the food, several members of the program team ran to the side to tease the peacock, but Yang Lin walked to the flower garden on the other side. Perhaps because he smelled the fragrance of flowers, the snake that had been hiding in his sleeve also poked out his little head. On the one hand, Yang Lin took in this little guy on a temporary basis, and on the other hand, he also wanted to cultivate a spiritual pet for himself. In his last life, he raised a water unicorn as a guardian spirit beast, which also played a key role in his cultivation process. But there is no so-called spiritual beast in this world, so he can only settle for the next best thing and choose such a naturally spiritual little guy to train him from an early age. Just when Yang Lin was stroking the little guy's little head and thinking about how to help it grow quickly, the originally calm little guy suddenly raised his head. At the same time, it also spit out its long letter. At first, Yang Lin didn't quite understand why it was like this. It wasn't until he followed the little guy's gaze to the other end of the flower garden that he realized that the little guy was attracted by the movement in the courtyard next door. With a hint of suspicion, Yang Lin immediately glanced in the direction of the small courtyard next door. And at this glance, his expression suddenly fell into a dull state. How can there be such strong karma? Who is in the yard next door? The karma on his body can reach such a terrifying level. Generally speaking, everyone is more or less contaminated with some karma. With daily actions and personal choices, the karma of the body will also increase or decrease. The higher one is in a high position, the more karma one has on one's body. Because they are changing the fate of others all the time. After traveling to Blue Star for so long, Yang Lin has seen many people in high positions, but the karma on them has never been so exaggerated. After the shock, a look of excitement appeared on his face. Because as long as he changes this person's destiny, all the karma of this person will be transferred to him. The total number is not even less than the hundreds of people he saved before. Thinking of this, he quickly recited the mantra, and the wall in front of him seemed to disappear in the next second. And everything that happened behind the wall was reflected in his eyes. In the courtyard next door, a vigorous old man who looked to be in his 80s was drinking tea. Beside him, a middle-aged man with extraordinary bearing was serving him carefully. Uncle Sheng, besides taking a look at your Sheng family's old house, you should have other things to do when you return to Jinghai this time. If you have anything, just say it, but don't be polite. As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, the old man smiled and shook his head. Ah Jiang, you are busy with work, so you don't have to stay with me all the time. And I'm afraid you can't help with this matter. Hearing the old man's words, the middle-aged man became more and more interested. Oh, Uncle Sheng, could you please tell me what it is? Even if I can't help, I can still help you find out. Seeing the middle-aged man being so curious, the old man took a sip of tea and then said with a smile. Old man, I came back this time to find a strange person. I heard on Ao Island that this strange man can extend people's lives, so I came back here specially. After finishing this meal, I will go find that strange man. I just hope he is really like the rumors. Hearing this, Yang Lin, who was eavesdropping next door, couldn't help but turn up the corners of his mouth slightly. Looking for a strange person to extend your life? Isn't this what I mean? It seems like I don't have to look for him deliberately. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 134. So full. In the small courtyard, as everyone ate one dish after another, they soon felt obvious abdominal distension. Before this, everyone in the program team had never thought that they could have all you can eat in such high-end private kitchens that cost thousands of yuan per person. They even packed away some of the uneaten dishes. Yang Lin originally thought that they were going to take it back to eat, but the result was obviously not the case. Hee, this is not for us to eat, it is for our hard-working colleagues to have a taste of. After they found out that we were here again, they asked us to pack something back for them to taste. Teacher Yang, you don't know, the people in the other groups want to change groups with us now, but of course we won't change. That's right, we would be fools if we changed. Listening to what several people said to each other, Yang Lin couldn't help but reveal a helpless smile on his face. He drank the tea in the cup in front of him and stood up immediately. Let's go, the meal is finished, it's time to go out to work again. I think it's almost time now. As soon as Yang Lin finished saying this, doubts appeared on the faces of several members of the program team. Teacher Yang, it's almost time. Do you have any other plans this afternoon? Yeah, where should we go this afternoon? At this moment, it was not only the members of the program team who had such questions, but even the viewers in the live broadcast room were also a little confused. Because according to the usual rules, Yang Lin usually gets off work directly after finishing an order. There are never any exceptions. This morning, he had already helped Longguo Petrochemical and Transportation Management Bureau solve problems. Normally, he should have returned to the hotel to rest in the afternoon. Could it be that Yang Lin has to work overtime today? This is unscientific. I have already earned more than 100 million in the morning, and I still have to work overtime in the afternoon. Yang Lin has already worked so hard, so what reason do we real workers have for not working hard? I hope there will be something exciting in the afternoon. Just when everyone expressed doubts, Yang Lin finally revealed his arrangement. Well, since there's nothing else, let's go fishing. I've been here in Jinghai for so long, but I haven't fished on the beach yet. I don't know what sea fishing feels like. Suddenly hearing that Yang Lin was going fishing again, everyone was surprised at first, and then looked at each other. To this day, they all still remember the last time Yang Lin caught someone while fishing. This time he is going fishing again, and God knows what he will catch this time. However, Yang Lin has already made arrangements, and it will be of no use if they say more. I could only follow Yang Lin to find a fishing gear store, buy a few sea rods, and then buy a bunch of things for fishing. Nothing like parasols, fishing boxes, or fish guards were left behind. The viewers in the live broadcast room who originally thought Yang Lin was joking were dumbfounded when they saw that Yang Lin actually made a complete set of fishing equipment. No, he is serious. He actually wants to go fishing again. I don't understand. What's the point of fishing? Do people who are addicted to fishing have problems? I've been going every day for a whole year and I haven't seen me addicted. That's right, can you do something serious, be a little self-motivated, and don't go fishing whenever you have nothing to do? By the way, this is what my wife said to me. I was originally going to take a nap, but when I talked about fishing, I suddenly felt less sleepy. Several other celebrities are so busy that they don't even have time to take a nap. Yang Lin actually went fishing again. What kind of life is this? I have said that what Yang Lin and the others filmed was not a variety show. What Yang Lin filmed was just the poor Max version of the life that he yearned for. Just when everyone in the live broadcast room was sighing that it was outrageous, Yang Lin had already led several members of the program team to a beach on the beach with fishing gear. Looking at the rough sea in front of them, the eyes of the program team members who had no interest in fishing suddenly brightened. Immediately, he imitated Yang Lin and set up a parasol, got into position and threw the fish hook. At the same time, a large group of people suddenly arrived at the hotel where Yang Lin was staying on the other side. Among this group of people were business elites in suits and ties, as well as middle and high-level leaders from government agencies. There are dozens of people. At this moment, these people were all accompanying an old man with white hair and a mahogany crutch in his hand. When this group of people entered the hotel's senior executives were waiting there early. As soon as the old man stepped into the hotel door, Chu Haifeng, the general manager of the hotel, greeted him with a friendly expression. "Mr. Shen, I haven't seen you for more than 10 years. Your charm is still the same as before. I really didn't expect that you would come to our hotel in person. If I had known about it, I would have sent a car to pick you up." As soon as Chu Haifeng finished speaking, the old man smiled and nodded. "It's Xiao Chu. When I celebrated my 70th birthday, you were still a young boy. Now, more than 10 years later, you are already on your own. Go to Ao Island for fun when you have time." Definitely after Chu Haifeng said this with a smile, his eyes shifted to the middle-aged man who was always by the old man's side. "Mayor Li, I didn't expect you to accompany Mr. Shen here today. I guess there must be something big going on." Hearing his words, Li Dajiang, who was supporting the old man on the side, nodded directly. "It is indeed a big event. I am accompanying Uncle Shen here to find someone. I've already made inquiries. He lives in your hotel." As soon as these words came out, Chu Haifeng's face suddenly showed a trace of doubt. He knew the identity of the old man in front of him very well. He was a well-known figure in the entire Dragon Kingdom. To be able to find such a person personally from Australia Island, his identity must not be simple. But he really couldn't remember any distinguished guests staying at their hotel recently, and their hotel was not the best in the entire Jinghai. How could a distinguished guest of that level stay at their hotel? Just when his face was full of doubts, Li Dajiang added another sentence. "That person should be a young Taoist priest. Young little Taoist priest." Hearing this, Chu Haifeng became more and more confused. And at this moment, the lady at the front desk suddenly thought of something. He quickly said, "President Chu, I think I know who they are talking about." As she spoke, she handed over her mobile phone. I saw that this time a live broadcast was playing on her mobile phone. In the picture, a young Taoist priest is fishing on the cliff of the sea, feeling very comfortable. When this picture was presented to the old man, excitement suddenly appeared in his eyes. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 135. At an unknown rocky beach on the seaside, as time passed little by little, the program team members still lost their patience. There was nothing they could do. They had been sitting here for almost an hour, not to mention fish, not even a crab was caught. No way. Is it possible that we need the Air Force today? Sure enough, sea fishing is still more difficult. Newbies like us are not suitable for sea fishing at all. That is to say, the wind and waves are too strong at this location, and it doesn't look like there are fish. I also said that I would grill the fish directly at night. Now it seems that I will go to the seafood market next door to buy it later. No, I will never give up. If I can't catch a fish, I will just dig out barnacles. Barnacles. That's a good idea. While talking, several members of the program team put their fishing rods aside one after another, then took out their tools and dug up barnacles on the rock wall nearby. Only Yang Lin was still sitting firmly on the rock at the front. No matter how loudly the waves hit the rocks, it was as if he was nailed there, motionless. And when this scene appeared in front of the live broadcast room audience, they couldn't help but become confused. Yang Lin doesn't really plan to sit here all day. It's very possible. He hasn't moved at all until now. Does he have any deep meaning in doing this? It won't be like last time. Let's wait for someone to take the bait. But where do these people come from in this wilderness? It smells like Taigongjiang. Why, Taigongjiang was also the one who hit the lure at the beginning. Forget it, let's just enjoy the sea view and relax. If possible, I would also like to sit on the seaside for a whole day like him, even if I don't do anything. Yang Lin will most likely ask for the Air Force today. Just when everyone in the live broadcast room felt that they could not understand Yang Lin's intention, the fishing rod in Yang Lin's hand was suddenly pulled by a huge force. At the same time, he couldn't help but reveal a smile. On the other side, several people from the program team who were prying barnacles quickly gathered around after seeing the movement on Yang Lin's side. Wow! Teacher Yang, the fish is caught, the fish is caught. Hurry, hurry, it looks like a big fish. The fishing rod is deformed like this. Can this fish really be caught? Wait, something is exposed over there. Following the gazes of several members of the program team, I saw a dark figure slowly swimming towards Yang Lin on the sea surface more than 20 meters away from Yang Lin. And one end of this figure is connected to the fishing line on Yang Lin's fishing rod. There is no doubt that he is the big guy who just bit the hook. What everyone doesn't quite understand is that most fish will struggle in the opposite direction immediately after being hooked by a fish hook. But this big fish, which seemed to be more than 1 meter long, not only did not struggle, but also actively swam in the direction of Yang Lin. When it swam only a few meters away from the Yang Lin, everyone saw its appearance clearly. Netizens who saw the scene through the lens also exploded at the moment. It's a dragon turtle. It's such a big dragon turtle. Oh my god, this must weigh more than 100 kilograms. How can there be such a big dragon in this position? How much does it cost to sell such a big dragon? Is this the legendary gift package for beginners at that time? Yang Lin just bought a pole and swung it down to hit such a big dragon. I'm afraid this dragon is not stupid. He was hooked by a fish hook and didn't run away. He even threw it in front of others. TCH, I don't want such a stupid fish. I'm afraid I will become stupid if I eat it. If I could catch such a big dragonfish, I could carry it around the entire Jinghai Sea 10 times. Just when everyone was shocked that Yang Lin could catch such a giant thing from such a location, the giant dragon finally swam in front of Yang Lin. Looking at the giant thing in front of him, Yang Lin just smiled slightly, as if he didn't care at all that he could catch such a big fish. The next second, an old voice sounded behind him. Taoist priest, a dragon of this quality has probably lived for decades. God has the virtue of a good life, so why didn't Taoist priest let it go? Suddenly hearing this voice, Yang Lin sighed without turning his head. Dragon ho, it has the word dragon on it, but after all it is just a big fish. Pandeo thinks it has lived 90 years, and it has reached the limit of its life. Even if we don't catch it, it will probably die. Now that it has taken the initiative to find Pandeo, I'm afraid it wants to take off the word on the back and turn into a dragon. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, the expression of an old man behind him changed drastically. After the shock, the excitement on his face became even more intense. The Taoist priest is really a god. Did you know that I would come to you? Only this time, Yang Lin did not respond to him immediately. Instead, he looked at the giant dragon in front of him. The dragon seemed to understand what Yang Lin meant. He immediately opened his big mouth and spit out a huge pearl with a diameter of 2 centimeters. And this pearl happened to fall into Yang Lin's hands impartially. After taking the pearl, a smile suddenly appeared on Yang Lin's face. He took out a piece of white paper filled with text from his sleeve and stuffed it into Long Zhen's mouth. What is written here is the Dragon Transformation Sutra. Whether it can be accomplished depends on your own luck. Go. As he spoke, Yang Lin removed the fishhook from its mouth. In a blink of an eye, the giant dragon disappeared into the sea water. But the old man standing behind him was dumbfounded by the scene that just happened. But he was no ordinary person, and he quickly understood the meaning. He immediately said with a sincere look on his face, "As long as Taoist priest is willing to help me, I am willing to give half of my net worth in return." As soon as these words came out, Yang Lin, who had been looking at the sea, suddenly turned his head. At the same time, the program crew who had just ran to the beach to pry barnacles and touch crabs finally came back with buckets full of water in their hands. "Teacher Yang, we are having a seafood dinner tonight." "Yes. I just picked up several kilograms of kelp." As soon as they finished speaking, their eyes were immediately attracted to the old man behind Yang Lin. "Huh? This old man looks so familiar. It's a little familiar, as if I've seen it on the cover of that magazine. Wait a minute, he can't be the one from AO Island. Who is it? The gambling king of Australia Island." As several members of the program team recognized the old man's identity, the audience in the live broadcast room also exploded. They obviously didn't expect that they would meet this legendary figure in such a place. But when they thought about it carefully, they soon understood. The gambling king of Australia Island must have made a special trip to see Yang Lin. The only thing that made them curious was why he came to Yang Lin. It wasn't until the next conversation between Yang Lin and him that everyone finally realized what was going on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 136. As some of the viewers in the live broadcast room recognized the old man's identity one after another, their curiosity was quickly aroused. Although many big names have appeared in Yang Lin's live broadcast room, compared with the gambling king of AO Island, they are undoubtedly much inferior. Even though he has been keeping a low profile these years, his legend is still circulating in the world, and even some young people can know his name through some legendary stories. And at this time, the old man, known as the Gambling King, finally revealed his purpose of looking for Yang Lin. I saw him first looking at the rough sea in front of him and letting out a long sigh, and then said helplessly. As Taoist priest said just now, although the dragon has the character dragon in it, it is not a real dragon after all. Just like my name is Sheng Tianlong, but after all I am just an ordinary person. I already have a premonition that my destiny is over, and I am afraid that I will not survive this year. But I'm not willing to lose to destiny like this. If I can live another 10 years. At this point, the old man became inexplicably excited. From his cloudy eyes, it can be seen that although he is already late, his ambition is still there and his ambitions have not yet been fulfilled. Regarding his words, Yang Lin was not surprised at all, but the audience in the live broadcast room was shocked by the old man's words. Oh my God, this is what he came to Yanglin for. Hey. Even a generation of gambling king cannot avoid birth, old age, illness, and death, but if I remember correctly, he will be 90 years old this year. I'm not satisfied to live to be 90 years old. I have such a bad body, stay up late every day, and eat technology and hard work. If I can live to be 60 years old, I will laugh. That's right, why do you live so long? Can someone else's gambling king be like us? He has someone else's pursuit, so naturally he won't be willing to die like this. It's not just him, any rich person doesn't want to live a few more years. Otherwise, why do you think the heavenly King Baoxin pill that Yang Lin sold before sold for a sky-high price of 1 billion? But he is too greedy. He actually wants to live 10 more years. This shouldn't be possible. How can people live 10 more years? Actually, it's not impossible. As long as someone is willing to lend him 10 years of his life, that's fine. Just as the audience was talking a lot, the gambling king Shen Tianlong also spoke again. Daozang Yang, I have watched your live video. Previously, you used the technique of wishing you to extend the life of the old lady of the Chen family for 3 years. I once sold a pill that can extend your life for 1 year. So I think you must have a way to extend my life for 10 years. When he said this, Shen Tianlong's eyes were full of expectation. But before Yang Lin could respond, the group of people who had been with Shen Tianlong followed him. Uncle Shen, the sea breeze here is too strong and you are not in good health. Why don't we move to another place first? My home is not far from here, why don't you go to my home first? Li Dajiang said with concern. At the same time, Chu's Haifeng, who had followed, was also attentive. Mr. Shen, if you feel that Mayor Li's house is inconvenient, I happen to have an empty yard nearby. Why don't you go there to rest first? In addition, my father and others also said that they will come to visit you later. It was obvious that they only had Shen Tianlong in their eyes at this moment, and did not even notice that Shen Tianlong was looking at Yang Lin not far ahead with a pleading look on his face. But at this moment, Yang Lin slowly began to put away his fishing rods and fishing gear, turned around, and prepared to leave with several members of the program team. When I came here just now, I seemed to see that there is a seafood processing company over there. Don't you want to eat seafood? Let's go there now. Hearing Yang Lin's words, the program team looked at Shen Tianlong and the others, and finally they followed Yang Lin's footsteps and left quickly. On the other side, Shen Tianlong, who was surrounded by Li Dajiang and other political and business representatives from Beijing and Hainan, couldn't help but show impatience when he saw Yang Lin leaving. Immediately, regardless of the dissuasion of Li Dajiang and others, he quickly chased in the direction of Yang Lin and others. After chasing for several hundred meters, a chaotic open-air seafood market with lots of people coming and going appeared in front of them. At this moment, Yang Lin and others had entered a seafood stall on the roadside. Seeing that Yang Lin stopped again, Shen Tianlong couldn't care less, and walked over shakily on crutches. As for the group of people behind him, they did not dare to be careless at all. They always guarded the old man on both sides, for fear that he would make any mistakes. Because of this, a funny scene also appeared in this open-air seafood market. Shen Tianlong already has a good temperament, and the people accompanying him at this moment are all elites in business and politics. The 20-something people in Wang are in sharp contrast to the dirty and messy seafood market. So much so that the tourists and merchants who came and went thought it was the leaders from above who came to inspect. Some of them even recognized the leading cotters headed by Li Dajiang and others, and their faces turned green with fright. Not long after, a group of people wearing market supervision and management uniforms hurried over from the other side of the seafood market. After running over, they immediately surrounded Li Dajiang. One of the leading fat men said even more flatteringly, "Mayor Li, why are you here? Have people and tourists reported that there are arbitrary charges here? We have heard about this problem for a long time, so we came here today to see if this is the case. Don't worry, if the situation is true, I will immediately ask them to start rectification here. Before the fat man could finish speaking, Li Dajiang pulled him aside with an impatient look. You don't need to talk to me about this trivial matter. I came here today because I have other more important things to do. Other more important things. Upon hearing this, the fat man who was wiping the sweat on his forehead with his cuffs immediately followed Li Dajiang's gaze to a seafood processing stall not far away. I saw a little Taoist priest sitting there on a small table next to the stall, seemingly waiting for someone. Seeing this, the fat man seemed to feel that he had understood something, and immediately patted his chest and said, Mayor Li, is this fake Taoist priest engaged in illegal preaching activities here? I'm going to catch him right now. As soon as he finished saying this, he felt a hard kick on his butt. At the same time, Li Dajiang's slightly angry voice came. Get out of here. At the same time, Shen Tianlong also walked up to Yang Lin with a worried look. From the moment he greeted Yang Lin didn't say a word to him, so he felt very unsure. But at this moment, Yang Lin finally spoke. Pandeo has a secret technique called Seed Shengji, which can extend your life by 10 years. But the price is not just half your net worth. Have you really thought about it? As soon as Yang Lin said these words, Shen Tianlong, who was originally worried, was overjoyed. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 137. While Shen Tianlong was overjoyed, the members of the program team and the audience in the live broadcast room who were sitting there like good babies also showed expressions of disbelief. They even suspected that they heard wrongly. Here, is it true? Is there really a way to extend a person's life by 10 years in this world? This is too outrageous. I thought the pill that extended life by 1 year was a bit unreliable. Birth, old age, illness, and death are the natural laws. If a dying person can live for 10 more years, wouldn't it be chaos? Does Taoism really have secret techniques of this level? Zhongshenji? I seem to have heard that it is roughly burying the birth date of a living person, together with nails, hair, clothing, etc., into the Feng Shui dragon cave. Firstly, it can increase one's own luck, and secondly, it can avoid disasters. Continued, may your life be prolonged. I always thought this statement was just a legend, but I didn't expect it to actually exist. Of course it's not a legend. We Hakka people also have a theory of burying the foundation of life, but it doesn't seem to be very effective. Do you think that just anyone can produce results? This kind of secret technique that can change one's fate against the heavens must generally be performed by a person with profound knowledge. Moreover, it is said that this secret technique is harmful to one's moral character, and the user himself will continue to suffer the consequences. All the causes and effects of the magician, if you cannot bear it, your yang shao will be damaged. Not to mention whether you can withstand the cause and effect. Do you think Feng Shui Dragon Cave is so easy to find? But looking at Yang Lin, he doesn't seem to care at all. Just when everyone was talking about the seed foundation mentioned by Yang Lin, Shen Tianlong finally recovered from the excitement. Taoist priest, as long as you can extend my life by 10 years, I will accept any price. Don't you care about the fate of your descendants as well? Yang Lin asked back. But Shen Tianlong didn't care about this. Children and grandchildren will have their own blessings. I have them. I have allowed them to live a life that ordinary people can't even dream of. Isn't it right for them to make some sacrifices for me? After hearing these words, everyone suddenly remembered that the man in front of them was not a kind-hearted old man, but a generational hero. In order to live 10 more years for himself, he would not hesitate to sacrifice the fortune of his descendants. But conversely, what he said is also very reasonable. His descendants are all thanks to him for their current status. Without him, such a large family might simply decline. Since you have made your decision, Pandeo will help you with this. As promised in advance, once the birth gene is planted, it is irreversible. Anything that happens to your descendants in the future will be your fault and has nothing to do with Pandeo. And Pandeo needs to collect part of the deposit in advance. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, Shen Tianlong nodded eagerly. Of course, it's all my responsibility. As for the deposit, you can think of 500 million. If you think it's not enough, Taoist master, you can add more. When this number came out of his mouth, everyone present and the audience in the live broadcast room had expressions of disbelief on their faces. How many? 500 million? It's just a deposit. This is too exaggerated. I woke up quickly. The numbers I've been dreaming about lately have really gotten bigger and bigger. Let's go back and sleep for a while. I don't dare to have such a big YY number before going to bed every day. Give me 500 million, not to mention giving the old man a birth certificate, but I am also willing to lend him 10 years of my life. 20 years, maybe. If I only borrow it for 10 years, I would feel a little uneasy with the money. 30 years. Don't compete with me. I'm only 18 this year. If you lend it for 30 years, I can live happily for decades more. Well, I still won't follow. I'm already 30 this year. I'm afraid that if I lend it for 30 years, it will die immediately. As expected of a gambling king, life is valuable. Unlike me, tens of thousands of dollars can buy my life for a year. Who said life is priceless? Isn't it valuable? The gambling king doesn't really intend to give half of his net worth to Yang Lin. I'm just afraid that he will lose his life but not his life. Can he really bear such a huge cause and effect? Just when everyone in the live broadcast room was shocked by the astronomical figure of 500 million, Li Dajiang and others waiting beside Shen Tianlong also had their eyes twitching. Even if their status reached their level, 500 million was still a huge amount of money, so they became anxious on the spot. Uncle Shen, is this too much? Do you want to think about it again? Yes, Mr. Shen, what if he is lying to you? I think he is young and may not know the secret technique that can extend life. Mr. Shen, please don't fall for this charlatan. It's just feudal superstition. Mr. Shen, you should be careful. Maybe some of them know Yang Lin and know something about Yang Lin, but 500 million is too much. From the bottom of their hearts, they don't think a charlatan can get 500 million so easily. However, they were not concerned about whether Shen Tianlong would be deceived at this moment. They simply felt that this huge sum of money should not fall to Yang Lin. Faced with everyone's persuasion, Shen Tianlong remained unmoved. Yang Lin was the last straw he could grasp. Before Yang Lin, it was not that he had not sought out those so-called Feng Shui masters, or masters of Buddhism and Taoism. But those people either didn't have the real ability or didn't have enough moral integrity. When they heard his request to extend their lifespan by 10 years, they were all scared out of their wits. Only in Yang Lin did he feel something different. Although Yang Lin looks very young on the outside, with his decades of experience in the world, he knows that Yang Lin can definitely realize his wish. Seeing that everyone around him was still trying to persuade him, Shen Tianlong immediately knocked his mahogany crutch heavily on the ground. At the same time, there was a loud roar from his mouth. That's enough. It's not your turn to interrupt my affairs. As soon as these words came out, everyone present immediately fell silent. At this time, they seemed to see Shen Tianlong's aura that belonged to a generation of heroes. After a moment of silence, Li Dajiang among the crowd quietly retreated. At the same time, his right hand also touched the mobile phone in his pocket. On the other side, Yang Lin, after seeing Shen Tianlong's resolute attitude, also said in a deep voice. The first thing you need to do to establish a foundation is to find a feng shui dragon cave that matches your horoscope. And there should be no place like this in the entire Qinghai. Pandeo has made some rough calculations. This dragon's lair should be to the west of Qinghai. It's definitely too late to go there today. It's better to go there tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, you will wait for me in front of the hotel. Hearing Yang Lin's words, Shen Tianlong nodded without even thinking. Seeing that things have progressed to this point, the next thing is basically finalized. After the program crew finished eating the kelp and drinking barnacles they had picked up, they prepared to drive back to the hotel. But not long after their car started, Yang Lin's cell phone rang. When he answered the call and heard the other party's voice clearly, a strange look appeared on his face. Opening ceremony? Invite me as a guest. Okay, if I have time, I will definitely be there. As soon as he hung up the phone, he suddenly felt that the car had collided with something. Then there was a burst of screams. However, the screams did not come from inside the car, but from outside. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 138. When he heard the screams, Yang Lin's first reaction was to hit someone. The driver's panicked expression seemed to confirm this. What's going on? I just saw no one in front of me. How come someone suddenly jumped out? Yeah, I didn't see anyone either. Will we meet someone who's cheating? Don't worry about it for now. Let's go down and see what the situation is. While talking, several people from the program team got out of the car with the live broadcast equipment. After all, they weren't sure what was going on. Just in case, recording the entire process was the best way. After they got out of the car, the first thing they saw was a middle-aged man lying on the ground. This middle-aged man seemed to have suffered a violent impact. Not only did he have many bruises on his body, but his chest was also deformed, and blood continued to flow from his mouth. Seeing this scene, the program team immediately panicked. If it was just a matter of touching porcelain, it would definitely not happen like this. And the injuries on the lying middle-aged man's body didn't look like they could have been faked. More importantly, there were indeed signs of collision on the front of their car. How could this happen? I was clearly watching the road just now. And my speed can't be that fast. How could he be hit like this? While muttering to himself, the driver's brother's forehead was constantly dripping with sweat. It was obvious that he was really panicking at this moment. Just at this moment, a dark-skinned woman wearing a straw hat rushed over holding a 3 or 4-year-old child. After seeing the middle-aged man lying on the ground, he immediately jumped on him. The child's father, what's wrong with you? Speak, you were fine just now. As she spoke, she started crying at the top of her lungs. The young child she was holding in her arms looked at the man lying on the ground with a confused expression. This miserable situation soon attracted a large number of nearby fishermen and passers-by. Based on the situation at the scene, their first reaction was that the program crew's car hit someone. How did this car drive and hit everyone like this? Yes, my shoes were knocked off. I'm afraid I won't survive. This is definitely not going to survive. This man seems to be Zhou Jun from Xiaoyang village. He has been a bachelor for decades and only married a widow last year. Now his wife can only continue to be a widow. Don't talk so much. These people knocked people to death. We must not let them escape. Yes, yes, keep an eye on them. If they run away, I'm afraid these two girls will have no whereabouts for the rest of their lives. As soon as the words were spoken, the surrounding fishermen had already concluded that the person was hit by a car from the program crew. In the panicked eyes of the program crew and others, they were surrounded. Many onlookers even took out their mobile phones to take videos and photos. After patting each other, someone among them recognized Yang Lin's identity. Hey! Isn't that person over there the celebrity who is very popular on the internet recently? Yes, yes, I just said that this person looks familiar. He turns out to be a celebrity. His name seems to be Yang Lin, right? Yes, that's him. My son has been watching his live broadcasts these days. He seems to have made a lot of money. What about celebrities? Do they have any contribution to society? No matter who they are, they have to be held responsible if they kill someone. Call the police quickly, and then post the video online, otherwise they might just settle the matter casually. As more and more people gathered around, the focus of the conversation gradually shifted to Yang Lin. As for who was driving the car or who hit it, no one cared at all. It doesn't even matter to them how the accident happened. They only knew that the party involved in the accident was a popular star. Seeing that the direction of public opinion has changed, the program team members became even more panicked. The reason why they were panicking was that on the one hand, something like this had happened, and on the other hand, they had felt that everyone present had begun to consciously target Yang Lin. The entire process doesn't even require anyone's instigation. Teacher Yang, what should we do now? There seems to be no cameras here. Yeah, if I had known better, I wouldn't have taken this shortcut. The camera of the live broadcast just now was not facing the front. How are we going to explain it now? How about we call the police? Otherwise, things will be spread online later, and some thoughtful people will take the lead. We will be fine, mainly you. Just when several members of the program crew looked at Yang Lin didn't show any panic at all. It doesn't matter. Pandeo did a fortune telling for himself when he went out today. There shouldn't be any big problems today. But as soon as he finished saying this, the middle-aged woman holding the baby cried even more sadly. The child's father, you can't just leave like this. How can I live if you just leave like this? Hearing her shrill cries and the state of the middle-aged man on the ground, everyone had no idea what was going on. Immediately, several members of the program team looked at each other. How is it possible? Will you die like this? He can't be pretending to be dead again because he wants to offend us. It must be the case. How could the car hit someone to death at such a slow speed just now? Just when the program team didn't believe that the middle-aged man had died like this, Yang Lin's voice came from the side. There is no doubt that he is really dead, not pretending to be dead. This. If it were someone else's words, they might still be a little suspicious, but if Yang Lin said that person was dead, then he was really dead. When they thought that they had just killed a person, they had no idea what to do next. The only thing they could do was to call the police and pin their last hope on the police uncle. Just as they were thinking this, a group of uniformed traffic policemen rushed over quickly. Judging from their state, they seemed to be patrolling nearby. After arriving at the scene, the traffic police cordoned off the scene immediately and checked the middle-aged man's condition. The final conclusion reached was the same as what Yang Lin said. The man was confirmed dead and died in a car accident. As soon as this result came out, the public opinion at the scene was instantly in an uproar. Even the viewers in the live broadcast room showed disbelief after learning the result. Oh my God, how could this happen? Why did you hit someone when you were so good? This matter is really big this time. It's a celebrity, a car accident. If it spreads on the internet, it might be arranged by those people. That's for sure. Yang Lin is a big traffic star now. If something happens to him, those marketing accounts will definitely throw rocks at him like crazy. Believe it or not, tomorrow someone will say that Yang Lin drove a car and killed someone. Believe it or not, but we can testify for him that he really did not drive the car. Even if he didn't drive it, he was the person who was killed during the recording of the show. I'm afraid this show won't be able to continue. No, don't be removed from the shelves. Hey, there's no way. After all, it's the person who dies, and the dead are the most important. There is no doubt that things have reached this point and are destined to end badly. The most influential among them is undoubtedly Yang Lin himself and the program team. But even so, Yang Lin's face remained calm, as if the accident had nothing to do with him. Only his eyes were fixed on the middle-aged man lying on the ground, as if he wanted to get some clues from the corpse. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 139. As the audience in the live broadcast room guessed, after the onlookers posted the live video on the internet, it immediately attracted the attention of countless netizens. The popularity of the video is also rising at an alarming rate. There is no way, Yang Lin's popularity on the internet during this period is really too high. His name can be seen almost on the hot search list these days, so that any news about him can become the topic of conversation among ordinary netizens after dinner. What's more, this time it's a matter of human life. Some people even got excited just by seeing the words Yang Lin, car accident, death, etc. Look, I'm just saying he's not a serious star. A serious star does all those silly things all day long. Yes, I have long said that he specially created a Taoist character for himself to earn traffic for himself. A madman will bring rain, and a madman will bring disaster. Seeing as he has been in so much limelight recently and made so much money, something will happen sooner or later. Isn't he a fortune teller? Did he predict that he would kill someone with his car today? Maid, I'm really convinced by your wisdom. Have you watched the full video? Yang Lin didn't drive the car, and he didn't hit the person. That's right, I hate people like you who take things out of context the most. Stop washing it. There aren't many celebrities who bump into people. It was mainly caused by him alone. Why should the entire variety show be removed? Our family Huahua is in such a miserable state. That's right. Obviously, not everyone can maintain a sane attitude online. What some irrational people like to do most is to push up the wall. The higher the wall, the more excited they are about pushing it. At the same time, at the scene of the car accident on the other side, several members of the program crew and Yang Lin were also questioned by the police. However, in the absence of any actual evidence, the final result remains unchanged. On the contrary, the evidence that they hit someone is very conclusive. The injuries on the deceased's body, the impact marks on their vehicle, and even the brake marks on the ground, plus the mother and son's oral statements, all the evidence proves that the person was hit and killed by the show crew's car. More importantly, there is no surveillance around here. But just when the program team was about to accept their fate, Yang Lin suddenly spoke. Actually, it's not that there's no surveillance at all. There seems to be a Stella parked in the yard over there. Its camera happened to be facing this side, and it might have recorded what just happened. As soon as Yang Lin said this, the eyes of everyone in the program team suddenly lit up. Yes, that car's camera probably captured what just happened. As long as the surveillance is called up, maybe we can be cleared. Thanks to Yang Lin's suggestion, the police handling the accident scene quickly contacted the car owner and called up the surveillance video of the incident. But after watching the surveillance video, their eyes became weird. After a while of helplessness, they motioned to the program team to watch the video together. The next second, expressions of disbelief appeared on the faces of the program crew. In the surveillance footage, a figure appeared on the road and was knocked away by their car. And the person who was knocked away was the deceased just now. They never expected that this surveillance video not only did not clear their innocence, but actually confirmed the fact that they hit someone. The driver even sat down on the ground. How is it possible? I obviously didn't see anyone coming out. Why did I bump into him? Impossible, impossible. Perhaps seeing him like this, everyone watching the excitement immediately realized what was going on. I said they killed me, but they still didn't admit it. No cars usually pass by this road. It's an internal road in our village. Who else could it be if it wasn't them? The surveillance has already recorded it. The star killed someone. Just because they are celebrities cannot be treated leniently. Yes, yes, I have put the video online. If they dare to show favoritism, they will wait to be criticized by netizens. I've started the live broadcast, and I just want to know if a celebrity bumps into someone and is treated the same way as us ordinary people bumping into someone. Faced with the condemnation of the onlookers, the policeman at the scene also frowned. It would be easy to say if this was just an ordinary traffic accident, but this accident happened to involve a popular star. What's more, the star seems to know their leader. And just when they were in a bit of a dilemma, Yang Lin spoke again. "Brothers, can you let me see the deceased?" Suddenly hearing Yang Lin's words, the policeman responsible for handling the scene was stunned for a moment, and then nodded. He didn't think too much and just thought it was Yang Lin's apology to the deceased. In fact, when Yang Lin came to the deceased, he looked him up and down. Sometimes the deceased's shirt is lifted, and sometimes the deceased's eyelids are opened. It didn't feel like an apology, but like an autopsy. After almost half a minute, he stopped what he was doing and turned to the policeman and said, "He was indeed hit by a car." Hearing this sentence, everyone present suddenly showed strange expressions. They didn't understand why Yang Lin had to emphasize an obvious thing. But what Yang Lin said next gave them a creepy feeling. But he was not just hit to death, but he was already dead. As soon as this was said, everyone was in an uproar. Are you kidding? He was obviously killed just now. Could it be possible that he could die twice? Even if you want to escape guilt, this is not the way to do it. I understand what he meant. He meant that this person was dead, and then he got up and let them hit him again. He's not a forensic doctor, why would he say that? I finally saw what serious nonsense is. At this moment, almost everyone felt that what Yang Lin said was off the mark. But this is obviously not over yet. After a moment of pause, Yang Lin continued. There is a record in the collection of clearing wrongs that in midsummer the skin and flesh of a corpse will change after one day, turning a bluish dark color and smelling of breath. Many places on this person's body have changed color, and there is obvious rigor mortis. Rigor mortis generally only appears on corpses that have been dead for 2 to 6 hours, so this person died at least 2 hours ago. We just collided with him almost half an hour ago, so Pandeo concluded that he was dead before we hit him. As soon as these remarks came out, the expressions on everyone's faces changed. Especially those police uncles. They never expected that the star artist in Taoist robes in front of them would know how to do autopsies. In order to verify whether what he said was correct, one of the experienced police officers immediately checked the deceased again. After a moment, his eyes suddenly changed. What he said is right. This man didn't just die. He had been dead for at least several hours. After receiving repeated confirmation from the old policeman, everyone inexplicably felt that the originally hot temperature had become a bit colder. They clearly saw in the surveillance video that the deceased stood there and let the car hit him, and he even took a few steps before that. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 140. At the scene of the car accident, as the old policeman said what he just said, both the onlookers and the audience in the live broadcast room felt a chill. They might be a little suspicious of Yang Lin's words, after all, he doesn't specialize in this. But if the same words are said from the mouth of an old criminal investigator who has been working for decades, the meaning will be completely different. Did I hear that right? Even the police uncle said that this man was already dead. Is it so evil? If this is the case, it means that Yang Lin's inference just now is correct. He really knows a little bit about everything. As a Taoist priest, it is actually very reasonable to often deal with the dead. After all, Taoist priests sometimes take on free work. This is indeed true, but tell me, is it unreasonable for a person who died a few hours ago to suddenly run and be hit by a car and die again? You mean the policeman said that on purpose to help Yang Lin escape his guilt? I don't mean that, but apart from this explanation, is there any other more reasonable explanation? Could it be that the deceased had faked his body, or maybe there was a ghost? It's broad daylight, don't scare me. Why are things getting more and more evil? As the discussion escalated, unreasonable inferences were raised one by one. Even the police officers handling the scene didn't know what to do for a while. At this moment, Yang Lin spoke again. There is no doubt that this man is dead a long time ago, but it is not a ghostly thing as you think. There is no such thing in this world. The reason why the deceased was able to run here and be hit a second time after his death was because someone was controlling him from behind. As his words came out, not only did everyone's doubts not ease, the expressions on their faces became even more stunned. What nonsense is he talking about? He's getting more and more outrageous. That is to say, what does it mean that someone is controlling the dead? How can we control people when they are already dead? I would rather believe that the deceased himself faked the corpse again. Yeah, you can't say that someone implanted a chip in the deceased's body and transformed him into a robot. Who would do such a thing for no reason? I want to see how Yang Lin will get back together next. In fact, not only those who were watching the show felt that Yang Lin was making things up, but even the program team members standing next to Yang Lin looked uneasy at the moment. Teacher Yang, you don't have to be like this. I hit the person, so I'll take the responsibility. Yes, Teacher Yang, this matter has nothing to do with you at all. Who would target us for no reason? Seeing that no one believed what he said, Yang Lin didn't talk too much nonsense. Amid everyone's doubtful gazes, he walked towards the deceased on the ground. After half an hour, the corpse of the deceased had become completely ossified. Coupled with the state of his death, ordinary people would not dare to take a look at it. But Yang Lin looked like he didn't care at all. I saw him patting the deceased's body gently in several places, and the stiff body immediately became normal. Then, under Yang Lin's fiddling, he became straight and straight. Just when everyone couldn't understand Yang Lin's operation, he took out a talisman pen dipped in cinnabar from his sleeve. As the pen tip moved, a red rune was written on the deceased's chest. This was not over yet. After that, Yang Lin opened the mouth, nose, and ears of the deceased, threw an unknown object into it, and at the same time formed seals with his hands to form a pagoda shape. After completing this series of actions, he began to mutter. Open the heavens to make people live forever. 3 souls and 7 souls. When they return to their senses, they will turn into infants. The 3 souls are on the left and the 7 souls are on the right. Listen quietly to the command of the gods. No one can see clearly. No one can see you when you are walking. No one knows when you are sitting. You are in a hurry. Laws and orders. Since his chanting voice was extremely low, the people around him couldn't hear what he was chanting at all. However, they had some vague guesses from Yang Lin's posture. Their expressions couldn't help but become a little nervous. What is he doing? He is drawing talismans and reciting incantations. He is not preparing to directly liberate the deceased. Have you ever seen any company with such a super degree? Isn't he trying to revive the dead? Are you kidding? He is just a Taoist priest, not the king of hell. If he dies, he is dead. How can he be saved? Is there a possibility that he was picking up the body? When I was a child, I heard the old people in our village say similar things. Where is your hometown? Xiangzi. That's no wonder. Have you been doing this since you were young? Fuck your mother. Just as everyone was speculating, Yang Lin finished chanting the mantra. At some point, a copper bell appeared in his hand. Jingle bell. With a clear ringtone, everyone who was still whispering fell silent instantly. The next second, under the gaze of countless eyes, Yang Lin shouted at the deceased on the ground. Rise. As soon as he finished speaking, the deceased who was lying straight on the ground stood up on the spot. Except for his eyes being closed and his hands pressed against his thighs, he was completely indistinguishable from a living person. Because the incident happened so suddenly, those onlookers who stood relatively close were frightened and screamed on the spot. Some timid ones cried loudly. "Ah! It's a fake corpse, it's a fake corpse. I blanch it, and the dead come back to life. What exactly is the situation? Why the hell am I such a bitch that I have to come see this excitement? Now it's better. I haven't dared to sleep for a month. Oh my god, how did you do this?" Before they could recover from the huge fear, Yang Lin shook the copper bell in his hand again. But the deceased who had just stood up actually took a few steps forward. Just these few steps made everyone's hair stand on end, and a bone-chilling chill swept through their brains. At this moment, not a single barrage appeared in the live broadcast room where hundreds of thousands of people had gathered. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the dead man who was standing still, as if they were wondering if they had just seen it wrong. But at this moment, the bell rang again, and the deceased took 2 steps forward. These 2 steps just took him to the front of the show cruise car. It looks exactly like the one in the previous surveillance video. At this point, even if Yang Lin didn't speak, everyone had already realized what he wanted to express. But even so, it cannot reduce the fear in their hearts. There was no way, they were really scared this time.